Welcome to our Safing live stream. It has been a while, I know. I'm very excited to be back with y'all. And yeah, sadly, my situation, I think from the last time we were live, I was a little bit sick. I was okay in between, but then last week, Danielle decided to drag me onto a conference. Also, the reason why we weren't that active in recent days. Sorry for that. And I'm sick again-ish. I feel like I was not.
Ish.
Yeah. I'm not actually like, but my nose is running like something, and but my voice is okay. I'm barely coughing, so. But my nose is running again. And typically, I think I'm not the kind of guy who's getting sick easily. But this January and February is just horrible, and
Weirdness.
I don't know what. Huh?
Weirdness.
It is weird. Maybe it's the weather as well. On the conference, so for everybody who's watching from the States, we had a guy, I think he was from South America. But he told us the conference was in Germany, and he told us he never has seen snow. And for me as an Austrian, where skiing is part of our way of life.
Our identity.
Yeah, that's so weird. That's so weird. No. So why am I starting with letting you all know that I'm not feeling too well? It will be a weird episode today again. Look, we have
It will be fun.
It will be fun. We have some announcements, we have some stuff, and we wanted to, even though we are not feeling too well, both of us after the conference, we wanted to still say hello, say everything is good. The office is still here. We are still here. Everything is working as intended.
We also missed one live stream because we had another appointment that we couldn't skip.
Exactly.
So
because I could not reschedule it to the week afterwards, and because we were on the conference that week after. So yeah, that's the reason why we skipped that one. Thank you for everybody who said like, oh, we missed the episode and everything. We want to be on the regular schedule again, so we will try to be here in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Also update the dates again in the app, so
that's true.
You all know what's coming. So yeah.
In Portmaster, if you have not seen,
how many days left in February? 6, 7? It's a weird year again, right? We have 1 day less this year. Okay, soon. Next week we'll update the app again, and you'll have the dates in there.
If you have not seen yet, I mean, we have gotten some people mentioning that they don't like the news feature, but in the news feature, we always try to have the next dates-ish in there. So, yeah. That's what you're referring to.
That's what I was referring to, yes.
Exactly. So you can, but I think the link always just goes to the Safing YouTube channel.
Yeah, it goes to I'm not sure if it goes to the live stream or it goes to the channel. Probably
the channel itself.
And probably to the channel. Yeah.
And when there is a live stream, it is the top thing. Maybe you can let us know what your thoughts are. I was always intentional about not scheduling the live stream in the week before, because I could just create it right afterwards, but then there might be a confusion. Is it this week? Is it next week? And yes, YouTube says it in there, but a 2 week in advance schedule for the live stream, I found not to be so helpful. So let us know. Also, welcome, Mike. I see you're active on the Discord. And Mike let us know that it's a leap year and it's one more day. So 29.
Wrong direction.
Yeah, that's the reason why we make fun of the people who have their birthday in a leap year on the 29th of February, because their birthday only comes up every 4 years.
Which is great because they age lower.
Sure. That's how that works. Everything is relative.
Right. That's programming, dates.
Exactly. So let us move over and continue with our regular programming. You wanted to share with us what they can expect from Portmaster development in the upcoming year.
Yeah.
We have some semi-important things there as well, where we wanted to sort of like let you know in advance things that happen. Maybe I want to address Windows 7 as well. But yeah, hit it. You can.
But let's start first with kind of the where we're at now. So I think we talked last month in January about kind of what has been going on, like also kind of the development of Safing, and we're really thankful for all the support we're getting. And Safing is slowly stabilizing. We are working toward our next goal to hire someone to work on Android to get that going. So looking forward to that a lot, and things are slowly improving. So we're probably gonna be there in a couple of months. Hopefully, we'll see.
To start Android again.
Yeah, to hire someone for Android.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it looks like now. Of course, that can change anytime. But it also means kind of us stabilizing. That's a big thing for us emotionally, because kind of always working toward or against, depending on how you see that, a deadline where you know, okay, that's the point where money runs out, is kind of emotionally just like stressing on a kind of baseline level.
That's true.
And kind of we're getting relieved of that slowly. So that's very nice. And what that means for like development of Portmaster means that we now have the chance to do some kind of corrections. So
improvement.
And
you said reducing technical debt.
Yeah, I want to come to that.
Okay, but you said corrections, and this sounds so bad.
I was trying to like explain that, because technical debt is a technical term that not everyone understands. So technical debt means that you take shortcuts when programming something in order to be faster, but these shortcuts aren't necessarily nice or work well in all situations. So what we're gonna start now doing is to stabilize Portmaster to work on removing things that were either shortcuts or were wrong decisions in hindsight. And now kind of we understand better how Portmaster is used, the profile of kind of the things that happen in there. That's kind of what we're going into now. A couple examples. We had more and more people reach out to us that Portmaster is using PowerShell scripts to get some information. And because for some their antivirus flagged it or they saw it in other tools, and that's true, that's a workaround, that's kind of technical debt. It was just the fastest, easiest way to get the information we need in certain situations. And that's something we're gonna replace with native ways to do that, not just calling out to a PowerShell script, but to actually query that information from Windows itself directly. So that won't show up in antivirus, like behavioral analysis things, stuff like that. So that's one example of that. Another one is kind of choices of databases we're looking into.
But I wanted to quickly add regarding PowerShell for our people who are watching. I see why, like, if you know why so many people reached out to us about this, this has been a thing in Portmaster from the beginning, I think.
Pretty much.
And I've gotten, I think, in the last 2 months, 20-ish mails about this. For real, like one every other day. And I think like, maybe then it's not 20, but quite a lot. And I'm like, what is happening? What did we stir here? Why is this an issue now? We weren't aware that this is an issue. Of course, like we were aware that it was a shortcut, but we weren't aware that people have an issue with that. So yeah. And quickly, Hunter is here. Hello. Thanks. I think if he's saying we're looking good, he does not see that my nose is red from all the tissues and the running nose thing. So
we look happy. I think
that is true, and we do. It has been a great day so far already.
Yeah. Okay. So we're kind of looking into examples like what does it mean for us, for Portmaster, to reduce technical debt
and stabilize everything. Getting rid of old shortcuts.
Yeah. So another thing we're looking at is databases. We're kind of evaluating options here. We're not happy with the one kind of the database that Portmaster uses locally to store caches, configuration, stuff like that. So that's things we're looking into, and how can we do that. Also, John Tyler just commented on YouTube. Please fix the BSD. So we have some issue with the kernel extension that's popping up here and there. We weren't able to get a fix on that, so the kernel dumps we got so far didn't point us at a location that kind of helped us find the issue. So we're not sure where that is going. We're already in progress and almost finished. In the process of finishing, I think that's a good wording, a rewrite of the kernel extension in Rust. That means that will also give us a lot of more stability there, and also kind of make things a lot easier when we continue to add features to the kernel extension in the future.
So John Tyler, Tyler, the answer to you is we could not reproduce it on our end. On our Windows 11 machines, everything works splendidly, no issues. So we have never experienced it ourselves. And the some debug, like dumps, whatever that we got, were not conclusive and did not help us. We understand that it might be, or probably is related to our kernel extension. It must, considering Portmaster in total, it has to be the kernel extension. And so that's the reason why you're bringing it. It should not be anything else within Portmaster. And so the rewrite of the kernel extension in Rust, starting off from the beginning, going through everything, should, in theory, clear that out as well.
Chances are really
high. Exactly. That's the reason why you made that leap from one to the other.
Yeah.
He asked about blue screens, and you said, "Well, we rewrite in Rust."
So okay.
The reason is
for
not
all
that
the
Rust.
People who don't know what Rust is or why this is significant, Rust is a programming language introduced by Mozilla, and it's targeted kind of or marketed as a C replacement. So that's kind of a low-level language that we use for, or like most people use for, low-level stuff like kernel extensions or C or C++. That's the language that you use there. And you can now do that in Rust too. And Rust is nice because it has a lot more memory safety features, and it can tell you a lot better if there are issues with your code. Kind of give you a lot more insights into that, and so it should everything should work a lot better with that. So very much looking forward to that. And that will be kind of within the next 2 or 3 months. We'll kind of finish that.
Exactly.
Take it into testing. It is a critical component, so we'll have it in testing longer than other components. So we are working on that. And that's also part of the whole kind of reducing technical debt, stabilizing. We're also going to look at internal structures, how Portmaster manages itself internally, all the kind of things going on. We're going to stabilize, simplify that too. So a lot of stuff happening in that area. So that means, of course, that there won't be loads of fancy new features that you will see, but it will help us immensely in the long run, kind of stabilizing things. And also, we hope that it will just, on a subtle level, improve your experience. Especially everyone who has seen weird bugs here and there. That's like the stuff we're trying to target, making it a lot more stable platform. And it is already very stable. And for like what we kind of estimate how many people use Portmaster, we think we get very little support requests.
Yeah. You said today when we were looking into on the back end again, like we know that our update system has issues, so we looked into how we can distribute updates better so that new installs, we hear complaints about the 300 Mbit download taking too long. We already scaled up our capabilities there, but we're looking into alternatives. And you said we're having 30 terabytes of traffic each month.
Just for updates.
Just for updates. That is a ton. And
right now we're using a cheap provider that's only in Germany. That's kind of what causes issues for people far away from Germany.
Yeah.
But
Asia
there we kind of pay 50 euros, I would say, or 50, 60, 70 euros per month to ship updates. If we do that on a major cloud provider like the big ones, AWS, Google, or Azure, that will cost us in the thousands of euros or dollars. And kind of we're looking at...
We can't afford that.
Yeah, we can't afford that. So we're looking into kind of a bit more expensive options, but also options that kind of increase our quality of that a lot. So we're also proving there. Also kind of the financial freedom we gain through kind of our support makes it possible. Yeah. We can actually move to a higher quality service for that because we now have the funds to do so. So if you love Portmaster, please subscribe to Plus or Pro and help us fund this venture. What else? You mentioned kind of our infrastructure. That's not just the update server, it's kind of other things too. We're looking into kind of our support systems and stuff like that, kind of stabilize that and bring that kind of into a good position there.
It's a different.
Yeah. So
continue.
Other things, I think there was one other thing I wanted to mention, I think, but I'm not remembering at the moment. But yeah, so lots of kind of under the hood stuff. The last feature that will come out in the next weeks, and it has been delayed a bit, but is version Portmaster 1.7 with the syncing. So that is coming. It's kind of, we're having good progress there, but still there have been other things going on. I've been investigating other stuff that came up. So we're still working on that. It will be out in the coming weeks, and looking forward to get that into your hands so you can kind of sync all your settings to a local folder, and you can then sync that using your favorite cloud or peer storage system.
Yeah, either Nextcloud or something like sync thing. Yeah, exactly. I quickly wanted to say, because you were trying to read it, Vol was asking on YouTube regarding an error or message starting module failure. I guess you should reboot, and it probably sounds like, so just a quick insert here, it sounds like you're having compatibility issues maybe as well. Come on over to the Discord, ask there. The Discord is full of very nice and helpful people. Also take a look in the Wiki. But the live stream, we can't go into details. It would need debug information, all that stuff. So please join the Discord or create a GitHub issue. But very nice for you to show up and be part of the live stream. Questions about a future of Portmaster and future safing, that's where we're at. And it can be a little bit technical, but troubleshooting is something that's better done on the Discord and not live. Hunter said, "Oh, finally, sync is on the horizon." That's, coming back to topic. Yes, sync is on the horizon. I think I would like to go into a little bit more detail what held us up a bit. Because that's another super interesting feature we looked at. That is sort of under the hood, but can reduce the size of Portmaster and the resources it consumes.
Shoot, that's the one I forgot.
That's a super interesting part. And a second one you also forgot. That's but I will make sure that we address both of them. But syncing, we also get the question recently a lot about how to export everything, syncing is the way how you export everything. Yes, this is a convenience feature, so yes, it's included in Plus and Pro, so it's not free. If you're on the free plan, you can very easily export either you have the same configuration you want to apply for multiple apps anyway, then you can just export the configuration and then apply it for every new app that needs the same configuration. That's a very easy way. Or you can look at all the blue dots in the app section and then just export the 3 apps you have actually changed stuff in and the global settings, and then you import those 3 things into your new Portmaster. If your use case is wildly different and you have 100 apps configured, I guess the 40 euros per year are not too much anyway. Or the 10, you just have to pay 1 month of Pro to get it anyway. But I hope that that's not the case. But let us know. Basically, for our from our perspective, and we talked about this, and you started off very honest in regards to that not working towards a deadline is good for us mentally. Having Portmaster Plus was so good for us mentally as well.
Yeah.
And I think we talked about this in the past, but I quickly want to mention it was good for us that that Portmaster Plus allowed us to see our customers not just as SPN users, and just focus everything on SPN and sort of like let Portmaster live on this side. But Portmaster Plus allowed us to see, well, we can add features to Portmaster in general. And there have been already, the import-export is free for everybody, And the syncing then is the convenience part where we're like, okay, good, this is something that we can charge extra. And we did not create the import-export for then to upsell. This is sort of like the situation where we're at, where we think about features and what we want, and we actually allow ourselves to do that because we know, well, it's those are also the people who are supporting us as well, and that's super important.
Yeah.
So, what is the other back-end feature that we're working on?
A big thing we're working on is we're trying to improve the whole UI situation.
The what?
The whole UI situation.
The whole UI situation. Okay, I thought hold UI, and I was like, what?
UI.
Okay, yeah.
So,
I heard a D in there. I was confused.
The people of you that kind of are more technical probably have noticed that we're using Electron. Electron is a platform that is kind of built on the Chromium web engine that runs Chrome, and kind of ships a whole browser more or less just to show one application. And that's just a very powerful tool, and it's been used a lot by a lot of companies that has last, I think, 5 or more years. And it has become, an issue for a lot of people because it's just a huge install size and it takes up a lot of resources.
Yeah, also RAM.
So,
CPU cycles.
Also Microsoft saw that problem and was like, we gotta solve this.
Because they solved it in the past, we used an alternative in the past, but with Windows Explorer, Microsoft Internet Explorer dying, that got rid. They removed that capability.
So we had to switch to
Electron
to get kind of...
If you recall.
Yeah.
That was the situation.
Well, the thing back then was that Internet Explorer just couldn't hold up with the features we needed to display UI.
Oh, that's also true.
So we had to go to Electron. But now, also I think a year ago or so, that kind of became more apparent that this is now a viable solution. It's called kind of WebView 2, I think, and it's kind of based on, again, Chromium, kind of Edge. And instead of kind of shipping our own engine to display the UI, Windows now has one for us, and we have to interface with it. So we are working on finally replacing Electron and shipping kind of the app that will use the rendering engine of the OS. So that's really nice, and it also kind of opens up different possibilities. So what we're using here is a framework called Tauri. We're using version 2, which is now going into beta. So we're kind of really early on with that version here, and it's working well so far in development, and we'll kind of start testing that in the next month, I guess. So we're still working on this, and what's really cool about this is it will allow us to bundle things better, also because we the sizes are a lot smaller. So kind of, and also because Tower is written in Rust. Again, Rust, we have that today again already. So it can interface with OS interfaces a lot better, which means that the new app will probably replace kind of 3 components. So we had the Electron kind of engine that we shipped. We had kind of the UI itself that ran with the Electron, and then we had our tray icon, which was a separate thing. And we can merge all these 3 into one component and just ship updates with that. And it's still kind of, in comparison with all the previous components, it's about a tenth of the size. So that's
which is also
really,
great.
really nice.
If we
we're looking forward to that. So things are, again, going to be simplified, improved, getting rid of ugly stuff that we don't want. So kind of taking big step forward in that direction. Speaking of size, install size, we're also looking at improving UIP databases and kind of doing some size improvements there too. So also that is going to be improved. So all in all, we're actually moving in a direction where it becomes feasible again to package everything. A lot of people have been asking about offline installers, and that while they are possible, that will have been a 500 megabyte file, all in all, and that's just huge. And that's kind of, we started in the beginning, split everything up into separate packages so we could update them individually, because there was just so much traffic involved with that. So now that we're kind of stabilizing, improving things here and there with technologies that just came out now that weren't available when we started this project.
That's true.
So we now have more tools and more options to optimize our software, reduce install size, and actually more and more move kind of to a normal installer experience where the installer has everything with it that it needs. So kind of we're actually moving toward a direction that installs will be offline by default, and not, there won't be kind of a separate offline installer, but actually installs will all be offline by default, because we've been able to reduce the size of all the things that we can actually fit it in a kind of normal sized installer. So that's really exciting, kind of optimizing stuff, getting kind of into that and improving. So very much looking forward to all these improvements in kind of performance, in speed, in stability, in sizes, in user experience. So loads of stuff happening under the hood, kind of for the general experience, not so much new buttons in the UI.
Yeah.
So kind of that's kind of the theme of the next time. We don't know like how long it'll go exactly. There are features on the roadmap that we will do, but we feel right now is the time to stabilize and to kind of get things straight, to then be able to build the next features on a much better platform in order to give you a lot better quality in the end faster.
Yeah. We had a couple of things interject there. Maybe then also interesting is if it's smaller, and we talked about distributing it more wildly, if we reduce the size by like to a tenth, then the cost can increase tenfold and the cost will stay the same.
Yeah.
So that's of course also very cool in combination. So from our perspective, reducing the size there can help us. We can rent servers which are more widespread, and then the download is faster and stuff like that. So this has big downstream applications and use cases as well. Vladimir asked, just curious, do you have stats on what is better compared to Electron memory usage and CPU, if any. You mentioned Tauri already, and Hunter asked, he wonders if how a switch to Electron would impact users. We are currently running Electron. We want to switch away from Electron. Vladimir knows this, but Hunter, maybe this did not come out correctly. So we have in the past not used Electron. We had to switch, but that was
2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah, 2021, 2020. I guess most of the people watching have not used Portmaster back then.
Probably.
It looked very different. And we switched to Electron basically for the longest time now. And we knew this is a compromise. There's a wiki page about this.
Yeah.
It has been a docs page before that. We know that Electron is not good, and we want to switch away from it because it is so resource intensive. On that Electron page, by the way, it tells you how to switch away and from Electron already. You can open Portmaster in your browser. You need to enter developer mode for that, though. This is not a recommendation. Yeah. Support tickets where I see in the debug info developer mode on, I handle with caution and typically have more the attitude of you change things you should not. Basically that's the thing. So Tauri written in Rust, and to Vladimir's point, I think we don't exactly know the CPU performance changes, but because it's provided by the operating system itself, it should not increase RAM workload by as much as a separate Electron.
Yeah, there are a couple aspects to that. We haven't done exact tests about that. I'd have to ask the one that did it. But what kind of we know from when that came out, one of the first applications to switch was Microsoft Teams, that switched from Electron to that internal engine, W2 for Microsoft. And I think they had such a decrease in CPU memory usage, it was insane. So there is quite something to expect there, but how exactly it will turn out, we will see. So I don't have any numbers on that right now. But the biggest point for us is that it will start a lot faster because it's integrated, and probably you will have other applications using the same thing as well, so that the system is already running. Plus, it's kind of integrated. We don't have to ship it, and Microsoft does the updates and does all the stuff for it. So we kind of have less to worry about. It's going to be faster. It's going to be smaller. So yeah, and also there will be improvements for CPU memory. We just don't know how much at this point.
And before we go into more details on how this will roll out, thank you, ZB, for the great comment. Thank you. So how are we going to test this? Because you said with the kernel extension earlier, we want to test this long. How are we going to test this? And what are the ramifications? Why is this not just something we do nilly-willy next week, because all those potential improvements and everything, why don't we just do this tomorrow?
So there are a couple aspects to this. The biggest one is that
talking about Tauri again, just as a quick. So Tauri, the switch away from Electron.
Yeah, we talked about the new UI system.
UI backend, exactly. You won't theoretically notice it in the front end.
It could be that you won't notice it a lot. That's true. So again, that's a big backend improvement that you won't directly notice, but still looking forward to that, definitely, because it will make it a lot easier. So one part of the thing with it is that, of course, it introduces new dependencies on the system, because we're not shipping our own kind of whole package for everything, but we're kind of relying on what the system gives us. So this is a dependency, so both in Linux installers will have new dependencies in there that will say that we need certain runtime stuff, so that your Linux distro can provide that. Also for Windows, we need to tell Windows that we want this WebView thing, and if it doesn't have it, it should install it. So there's also dependency there. So kind of we at least need to run the installers again. But then, as I said, we're kind of merging 3 components into one with this change, which also kind of changes the structure of how Portmaster works. So we're not entirely sure how this will work. One idea we have right now is to kind of release the new UI as a separate or semi-separate installer that we can kind of install additionally just to test it out. But in the long run, probably this is going to be kind of a breaking change we're going to introduce in Safing in Portmaster in order to kind of
do it cleanly.
Yeah, do a clean upgrade and be like, okay, that's something you'll have to do manually, and we'll see what other changes we'll include in that too, so we can upgrade from a couple older systems to kind of improved, more stable and clean systems for that. So
I think we never had a breaking change till now.
We
always avoided them.
We removed a couple features, but they had a long sunset.
No, and it was not a
like
breaking change. You never had to reinstall Portmaster again.
That's true. You never had to reinstall Portmaster, so we ticked that box. That's really nice. And of course, with it's probably gonna, like, as kind of this versioning system works, it's gonna be called version 2. So Portmaster version 2.
Which might be a little bit confusing because
It's not going to be a big feature release,
exactly.
but it's going to be a big stability release.
Yes.
And version 2, because it has it's incompatible with the previous version.
Yeah.
But we will, of course, do our best to do it as smooth as possible, migrate everything we can to the new system, so that for you as a user, it's as smooth as possible. But we won't be able to do that in an automated way with auto updates. So that will not work. And also, we're gonna look into how updates work and how kind of this new model of distribution, the new kind of requirements or the new kind of settings we have with these changes, what is actually the best way to do updates with that. So we're not kind of set in stone on that yet. We're still brainstorming, thinking about which updates make sense, how can we do that, looking at our pipelines, our build and release pipelines, how can we optimize them and make a clear path for that, so kind of not every release costs us a day of work just for packaging and releasing everything. That's a waste of time. We don't want that. So kind of looking at that whole process. So yeah, loads of stuff coming for improvements. Yeah.
Absolutely. Maybe then to quickly say, I already see on the Discord a couple people typing that you said auto update won't work. And I guess this can potentially scare people. There is a notification system and the news thing. You will know there will be a button. You will be able to click on something inside Portmaster to start this process. It is breaking only in as much that you will have the Windows pop up again, where you have to say, well, there is an executable running and we will look into making this, as you said, as smooth as possible. Yeah. But it will require some more interaction than the auto updates, which are currently just running in the background, and Portmaster needs to restart, or you restart your computer the next time and everything is applied automatically. Yeah. That's not how this will work, and that is what we're saying. But you will be guided through it. It won't be something like MX Linux upgrade. I heard those are interesting.
I have no idea.
Yeah, and me neither exactly. But yeah, so it won't be a breaking or something, anything. We make it as smooth as possible. Portmaster, we know from which version, like we can tell, we can prepare in advance for this, do as much as we can, and then the move over can be as smooth as possible. So don't be scared, but be aware. If you're interested in Tauri, that we are considering. And if you're interested, let us know in the comments, let us know on the Discord. If you would like, this would be maybe like, it's not, we can't just package it into the beta for every beta user, but there will be a separate installer for the Tauri UI. And for
probably.
a time,
We're still investigating.
That's
still
true, but if you're
that's
interested,
our current what we think could work good.
Exactly. And
We'll
let
see.
us know if you think so as well. And if you would be interested in testing it like this. This is especially, if nobody would test it like this, then there is no use for it. But if, I don't know, 100 people tell us they would like this, then for us, investing the time into doing this might make more sense, because then when we do that big change, because the rollback will be a nightmare. 100 people, I'm not joking, that would be what I would be looking for. Maybe more. And we would like to see that this is stable and this actually works. Otherwise, we will have to make sure that it is stable by just delaying it and delaying it.
Yeah.
Either we have tons of people testing it, more like 2, 3, 4, 500. That would be super cool. But 100 at least, or maybe a couple months, like with the kernel extension.
Also, the Tauri kind of framework, the thing we're using to build this. So the version 2 we're using from them is now in beta, and we're still gonna see, like, if they're not yet confident to build it in stable, maybe we'll wait a bit longer too. We'll see how their stance is on that, and see like how stable it really is. But it should work out. Maybe we'll wait for them to mark their stuff as stable, be like, okay, they're sure now works, then we can upgrade to that, and then we can move forward. So that's also something where we're a bit dependent on their timeline too, when we are willing to move forward. So there's that too. So we're kind of with kind of Chromium, where we're kind of just stepping on kind of the default thing, but now we're kind of catching up to Bleeding Edge on that front. That's really cool. So looking forward to giving you the best of the best.
Absolutely. Yeah, super cool. So let us know, and if you're interested in this. Violet asks, how we doing, people? Good work so far. Okay. Any plans on €5 plans for SPN? I think we answered this multiple times. I'm sorry, Violet, if you have not seen it yet. 5 years is too little. This would not cover the costs of an SPN user. It's not doable. Maybe I'll share another idea I had. I'm currently looking into somebody reached out to us. Was this late last year or in January? Some privacy-focused company with a storage space thing as a storage provider. I looked into them. They say privacy. I'm skeptical, so this won't happen, but I'd like to share it. They reached out and wanted to collaborate. I am open, and I think reached out to, was it Rethink?
Yeah.
I think it was Rethink in the past as well. We reached out to other people who had issues establishing a foothold or had customers but wanted to expand their portfolio, and we are interested in maybe working together with somebody else. Not sure how this would work with accounts, because our accounts have basically no private information in them. I don't know how they look like. I think I shared this on Discord already, and people said they would like us to maybe partner with reputable other privacy companies as well. If we would do a bundle, costs would be shared, and then it might be easier. And then it would not be €5, but then you would get more for the same money. You know, that's partly a thing I'm considering.
Yeah. So maybe
we're looking into.
Explain what you mean with partnering, just kind of so that.
Yeah, offering something. Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Offering something like that's more in the Mac world, I think, where you can have a subscription to multiple licenses of different software. So they're all independent companies. They're all having their products, but they're saying, well, this part of our product we throw into the bowl, and so people can like swap from one to the other more easily, and that they can get more for their money. And I think like I don't know if I don't know if I publicly talked about this already, but there have been ideas about that in the privacy realm as well, because there are things that just everybody sort of needs basically. And Proton, of course, is trying to do everything on themselves. And I guess some people celebrate that. Other people think that their ideas of what cloud storage should need and work like, it took them very long to actually do that stuff. But basically something like the Proton bundle, but from different people.
Dedicated companies.
Exactly, working together. But this is only a vague idea. But if you're asking on how could SPN get cheaper, basically maybe if we would bundle it into something else where you have your, I don't know, instead of paying 7 or 8 euros for your cloud storage, or 10 euros for cloud storage and 10 euros for SPN, pay 15 for both. And
so you'd have your private email, your private calendar, and your private storage, and your private VPN alternative in our case, together in one bundle. And of course there's one company that offers all of that, but we think it's much cooler to get this from multiple companies, where every company actually excels in that point, and you also don't just put all your eggs in one basket, but kind of split between companies. So that's a really cool thing. That's something we've had on our minds for some time now. But we weren't ready yet to actually put resources into that and try to actively find partnerships and kind of do something like that.
But they have reached out in the past already.
So they're and maybe in a year or two, when we feel confident, we'll actually start dedicating resources and try to do that. But we'll see.
It needs to be a good partner that you all agree with as well, of course. Again, like on the Discord, I think I mentioned that, and I've already had some people who said, yeah, well, if it would be somebody like Mulvert or IVPN, or I don't know, Tutanota, or maybe Mailbox, they sort of like they agree, stuff that other privacy-minded folk recommend as well. There would be like, yeah, that's all cool stuff, but if you would partner with Nord, that would be bad. And I'm like, yeah, I absolutely understand. That's not what I'm talking about. But people like in the privacy realm, people who you already have heard of, exactly. Skiff is, of course, not part of the idea anymore. Too soon? I don't know.
Yeah, it's really hard. There are a lot of companies out there that is that a thing, tape their mouth to fill?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Mike said that one company makes it centralized, splitting it up is better. Yeah, we agree. Also because of expertise, we are currently realizing some of the things where we are working sort of like outside of our expertise, and stuff that we need to sort of dive back, and where we're like, okay, good, we need to focus and sort of like do it. We're programmers, that's what we can do best. And that's part of that as well. And again, as a loose sort of like bundle thing, no long-term subscription stuff where you can go at any time, so that if some company breaks out again, that you can say, well, that was important to me and I want to go, or stuff like that. That's just some of the ideas that we have. And, and we would need somebody to implement that as well. Because that's not part of our expertise. Just to make sure.
There's a lot of stuff to do there. So
exactly.
It's not kind of let's do something, let's go, but kind of that would require a lot of legal work first, and then kind of require lots of work on integration on all platforms. So kind of setting something up like this, probably from kind of first meeting to let's go, is probably 2 years to get everything done, because you kind of need at least a half a year to kind of legally sort things out, and then kind of start hiring and get people on board. Especially
if it's across the Atlantic as well. If it's all EU companies, I guess it would be easier.
Of course, for us, with just EU preferable, because that's kind of where we are, and we think that's a cool thing to get stuff from the EU, because of something called GD something.
Data protection.
Data protection.
Yeah. Regulation. That's true. That's true. And you see that you are also brought us other cool things like a USB-C on the iPhone. You know.
That's true. That's
For everybody. No, we know not everything about the EU is great.
What was that question? Like, what's your biggest driver of like innovation?
Legislation.
UA regulation.
Okay, that is not. We're joking.
We're definitely joking. Yeah,
the EU makes a lot of stuff, and also for us in Austria, a lot of stuff that we don't. A lot of
weird stuff.
Yeah, that's true. Super cool. Violet already said that the idea sounds great. If you like, we're open to ideas. Again, like some companies reached out to us. If you have contacts into companies you'd like to see us partner with, you can let them know that we're open for talks and to start working into that direction. That's always interesting. I feel like sharing resources in the privacy community, if the companies are respectable, that might be really cool, because the reason why Google is so successful, partly, I mean, we're talking to you on YouTube, so but partly is that they have a lot of cool things and bundle them together. And part of the reason why people are so mad at them for killing things are because then they have to move away outside of the Google universe, which they so love and so like. And I understand, but I don't see that having one company doing everything is the best way, especially if the track record is not super cool with new implementations and stuff. But hey, Proton apparently has a desktop client now, so there's that. Looking forward to seeing that in action. Hunter said, EU better not see this stream. Yeah. Well, again, we're on YouTube. That will be on Google just buys out what they think is cool. That's also somewhat true. I don't know if they buy out everything.
They definitely kill stuff really fast.
They kill stuff really fast, except for all their
really
chat platforms. They always
that's
start.
not killing, it's iterating. A new one every 3 years, right? That's how that goes.
That's how that goes.
Or is it 2 years?
Yeah, but they only kill one every 8 years, so
okay.
They're sort of like piling them up. We're all an end. So if you have any questions left, please start writing them.
I just want to like respond to Hunter. You said you tried S Pen for the first time and it cost 15 euros. Not sure what that means. Not sure what the FR means after that too. Maybe you can clarify that. So S Pen is
10 euros.
10 euros per month. Of course.
Or 100 for a whole year.
If depending on like we only accept euros at the moment. So if you're kind of at home in another currency, then of course that can induce change costs.
Yeah, we had some people send us different currencies in cash, and
please don't do that.
Please don't. But if you do, be aware it takes longer because we actually have to be at the bank at opening hours, and that there are conversion rates. We cannot just and we will take the conversion rate of that day when we have been at the bank. So that is
we just bring the money to the bank, and whatever euros they give us, that's what we credit you.
Yeah.
Whatever fees apply, they apply.
And we are not looking like we don't make any extra money on that. It's really just the bank making money. And if you do that at a bank that you know and you can control with an exchange rate that you know and can control, it's better to send euros. I think it's better for you. For us, we just feel uncomfortable because we are like, you sent us, we see how much money you sent us, and it's not the same in yours, especially after conversion and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, and we feel bad because we can't just go and credit it to you as soon as it arrives, because we have to wait till we can make it to a bank during opening hours and stuff like that.
And especially, I think the euro and dollar have been more or less one-to-one for a long time. But right now, I think the euro is stronger, so you only get, I think, 90 euros for $100. So that's something to think about. But we're talking about how we handle this, but what we actually want to say is don't.
Exactly.
Don't send us money that's not euros.
Exactly.
Please
convert it yourself.
Pay online. Have the payment provider, your bank, converted. So you can, if you just use your use your credit card, and your credit card company will convert it for you.
Yeah. Or if you send cash, change it.
Change it beforehand. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Violet said never gonna use Proton, but SPN is something I can see myself paying for. Yeah, please. And again, you're supporting not just SPN, you're supporting all that we do.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of backend stuff in the coming year, but that also means SPN backend. It should mean improvements. It should mean stuff is faster. It should run on slower hardware better as well. I mean, what is considered slow hardware? I think. It already works fairly okay, especially if you close the UI. Then it works perfectly, but the UI
doesn't have to be open for Portmaster to work.
Yeah, that's true.
That's an important thing. We try to communicate that as good as possible.
Yeah,
but
and the UI
for some people it's just counterintuitive because they're used to having things open. But most programs kind of I think they call it minimize to tray. Which I really hope it really does not only minimize, because it should free resources if you're not having that window open.
And I
that's
think
what Portmaster does.
Yeah.
It frees the resources. We don't need to keep that in memory.
The tray, and you mentioned that at the moment the tray thing is a separate process and app basically.
Yeah.
So Portmaster currently is 3 to 4 things depending on the platform where you're at. And not all of them have to run. So it's basically on Windows kernel extension at the core. The Northfire is cool when it runs as well because it's super small and does not impact anything. And the fourth would be the UI, and you don't have to run it all the time. And Hunter clarified he thinks from the feature set we could charge more than the 10.
Mm-hmm.
But of course he knows that it's 10.
Okay.
And thank you for that as well. We got asked when all the prices for the service and bandwidth increased if we would increase our prices as well, and no, our goal is to have we know we're not cheap, but we want to be as cheap as we can afford for the most people to have privacy. SPN is a privacy feature, we know that. We cannot but we cannot give it away for free. That's not feasible. As you already mentioned, SPN has tons of terabytes per day of data. So somebody recently who ran a community node was asking, is something wrong? Why have I terabytes of data on my community node? I'm like, no, that's just
that's how it works.
That's how it works. People use the SPN. Are you surprised that people use it?
Terabytes
of data. That's a lot. And so we have, and we communicate this now as well. And as you said, we're so thankful that we are not running towards a deadline, but everything is going smoothly at the moment, and everything is going up. So more people coming in. The live stream, we have more people on live stream today than we had on a live stream a year ago and stuff like that. So everything is going into a good direction, and we want to keep it like that. And your feedback helps. So you telling us what you like, we appreciate just the nice comments as well. But if you tell us what you like, that's also interesting to us. If you tell us what you don't like in a nice way, that's also super helpful. If it's in a testy way, then that might respond in me trying to be nice, but taking the feedback still with us.
Violet asked about the Portmaster app being heavy on resources. I think what you're referring to is actually the UI being open. That's because we're currently using Electron, which is just a hungry monster. And we are in progress of getting rid of it. You might have joined the live stream later and missed that part. So if we're done, it's going to be on YouTube for replay. So you can go back to more or less the beginning of the live stream as of minute 5 or 10. I guess we talked exactly about that.
That we move away from Electron.
We are moving away from that, and things are going to improve over the next 3 to 6 months. That's kind of our time frame that we need to get all this stuff ready and out, because for multiple reasons it's a bigger change.
Yeah. And we want to make sure that you don't have to revert back, because it will be a process that will be hard to go back from. So but Portmaster, the core and the basic stuff should not be resource intensive at all. If it is, then there might be a separate app that's trying to fight Portmaster, and the both of them just like go at each other. So I think like some stuff tries to block, for instance, the PowerShell thing, and I think that might be an issue why people have been reaching out. They saw that the PowerShell thing started way more often. Because PowerShell was blocked or something like that, and then the resource spiked because Portmaster was trying to get PowerShell to work and it did not work, and stuff like that. We know we're working on it, but typically, if you're on a clean install, Portmaster should not like cost any resources, and we have seen it run on something that's basically a potato.
Yeah, well, it's
I think it was
true,
a single
little
core
resources, but also keep in mind if you're using SPN. Portmaster will look like using a lot of memory, but what you're seeing is it's just taking your traffic, needing to hold that in memory for a very short amount of time in order to encrypt it and then send it along its way. So that's not using memory, it's just needing some memory space to handle your traffic. So that's something to keep in mind. And Violet just mentioned it. The resources. If you have a lot of resources, please. First thing to do is to close the UI and check if it's salted, because the UI is just resource hungry. Because of Electron, again, we're working on that. That will improve this year.
And I don't even know. I think it is 500 megs. It's not ungodly amounts. I think it's not. Too much. We know it's too much for what it does, but it's not, putting it into perspective, it's not ungodly amounts. It should not be. So within the 500 megs range, and you can, Violet, maybe just try going into the dev mode and then just use it in the regular browser. Dash is back again. What did he write? Be nice, or Raphael will find you. Yeah, he knows this guy. Just kidding. Oh, Dash, glad to see you back again. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining us till during the end of the live stream.
We of course know nothing. That's the truth.
That is true. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, we don't. Okay. It is past 4.
Wow.
Do you want to say some more last words?
Last words. So very much looking forward to the next season at Safing. We're gonna be investing heavily into stability, cleaning up old stuff, making it nicer, cleaner, faster, all of that. Not so much new fancy features with new buttons in UI. That's not the season for that. So that will come again, definitely. But right now we have to prepare for the next stage, and we're really, really happy that we have so many supporters, and that we can emotionally kind of settle now that the kind of
it's super cool.
Yeah, that our kind of revenue is stable enough to support us. That's nice, and it's continue improving. We're looking forward to hire an Android developer also to work on that front. And the last feature before kind of this cleanup phase will be the settings sync, which will be out in the next couple weeks.
Soon.
Soon TM. Yeah. If you love what we're doing, if you're looking forward to all these cool under the hood improvements, I know it may be a bit hard to imagine what that means, but it's really important to be able to create a solid product and build upon that. We don't want to kind of get stuck somewhere. So if you want to support that, please subscribe if you haven't already. Other than that, we're looking forward to seeing you again in 2 weeks.
Yeah, see you in 2 weeks. Have a good one.